Hi, my name is Anastasia. Welcome to this video. I'm obsessed of showing how to transform complex references into simple sketches. And today I wanted to show you this sketchbook spread I've created lately. This is inspired by my trip in Japan. And today I wanted to talk about food illustration and especially how to create realistic food textures, especially glossy textures. So the best example would be this fish egg sushi. This is the reference picture I've used to paint this. Actually, this is the full picture. And today I wanted to show you how do you actually make something look shiny, first of all, and then how do you represent lots of shiny objects all together, how to make it look not overwhelming, how to make it look clear for the viewer and also do it quickly and simply. So let's dive right in. What is a fish egg? It's a sphere, it's a circle, right? So if we zoom way in, this is how a fish egg would look like. What makes a surface of the fish egg glossy and shiny? This is the highlight. So we need to place a highlight. In my case, the light is coming somewhere from the right side because all of the highlights are on the right side. So this is why I place my highlight there. A very interesting thing about a fish egg is that it's, you see, when we zoom way in, we see it here, but I also have a better picture to show you. You see, the highlight is on the right side, and then on the left side, we have this lighter color. So you see, all of the left sides of these eggs are kind of glowing. So how do we create this glowing effect? This is actually really, really simple. I'm going to use watercolor to show you how to do it. So here I have just some water, my brushes, and we will need just a few colors. So I'm going to show you what I use. This is my travel sketching palette, and I use watercolors in tubes to fill it with my own colors. Today we will need only two colors, something yellow and something red. Very simple. So for yellow, I recommend cadmium yellow, or I have primary yellow by Sennelier here, and something red, like primary red or cadmium red, doesn't really matter. So let's start with yellow. I will mix some yellow with water. This is all I need. And then I will mix another color. It's going to be orange. So I'm going to use the same yellow and mix it with red. Red plus yellow creates orange. So you see, I've obtained this orange color. And then I'm going to create a third color, which is going to be even darker. So same exact colors, but different proportions. So more red than yellow. And you see, I will obtain this darker orange color. I'm going to make a few swatches for you here so that you can see exactly what we're using. So yellow, orange, and dark orange. A very important thing to keep in mind is that I want to preserve the highlight. So this is what I will pay attention to. I need to make sure I'm not touching the highlight when I paint. So I'm going to start with the yellow color, and I'm going to cover the whole surface of the fish egg except for the highlight with this color. Then, very important, while this color is still wet, I'm going to switch to my color number 2, so the light orange. And I'm going to introduce this color to the top area of the fish egg. So you see what happens? This orange starts to bloom into my yellow color. So you see, I've kind of creating this color transition, this color graduation from yellow to orange. And then you see, if it's a little bit uneven, like it happened here, I can go there with my dry brush. So I need to wash my brush, dry it with my paper towel, and then simply go here, you see, and kind of blend these colors together. It's super easy. You see, I'm just going there with the tip of my brush and kind of make these two colors blend nicer. And you see my highlight is completely untouched. So this is step number 1. Now let it, you can make it dry a little bit, or we can jump straight into adding our final color, which is going to be our darkest orange color. And I'm going to add some of this color here. In the middle. So you see what happened is that I have this shiny yellow color on the lower side, and this is what makes our fish egg look nice and glossy. And then one cool thing I want to show you is that these subjects stand out even more when you add a dark background. So let me show you, what does that mean. I'm going to take, you can use any dark color. I'm using Payne's Gray. It's a dark blue-gray color. And in order for this to work, you need to let this dry a little bit. So your fish egg should be completely dry. But I think mine is. I'm going to lightly touch it to see if it's still wet. Actually, it is still wet. So let's wait for another minute. And I'm going to show you how you can make this egg stand out even more. But for now, in order to use this time, let me show you how do you actually create the many eggs. How do you paint those? So our sushi is kind of a cylinder, right? So it's a cylinder that is filled with eggs. So this is the top area of my sushi roll. And then inside, I'm going to place the fish eggs. So I'm going to start with these single fish eggs. I'm going to place them here, here. But then at a certain point, of course, not all the eggs will be visible. Some will hide behind, right? So this is what I'm going to do here. I'm going to make one that is hiding here, one that is hiding here. So the easiest way to do this is to add some of these entire eggs and then hide the others behind those. So there's even no need to look at the reference picture when you do so. So when you draw something like leaves or fish eggs or other subjects, other repeating subjects, there's no need to follow the reference closely as far as you know what you're doing. So you just know that this is a bunch of circles. So this is exactly what I do here without needing to look at the reference and copy exactly how they look there, because it doesn't really matter. So for quick sketches, again, our goal is to create this illusion of reality, not just following blindly what we see on the reference picture. It's going to make your sketching process much quicker and much more enjoyable. So there you go. I've created the individual eggs on my sushi, and what we want to do here is also outline the highlights. Just like we did on this individual egg, I'm going to do it here. Not on all of them though. So imagine that some eggs are on top and some are more at the bottom. So if you look at here, you see that some of these eggs have these very strong highlights, you see, and some don't have. Why does that happen? Because again, the light comes from the right side, so from here, and it's going to hit on these top eggs, but it's going to have a hard time of reaching the lower ones. That's why those don't have that strong highlight. So this is one thing you need to understand. And secondly, how do we actually paint all of those eggs all together so we don't spend, a ton of time of painting them separately like we did here with this one egg? Well, we're going to use the same exact principle. So we're going to start with the same exact colors. So our yellow color, just use some primary yellow. And I'm going to do the exact same thing I did with the single egg. So I'm going to cover all of those eggs. I'm going to treat them as one single thing. You see, I'm just going to cover them all except for the highlights. So again, I'm just leaving the highlights untouched. Another option how you can do so is to use masking fluid. So masking fluid allows you to preserve whites before painting. So all you need is just to apply the masking fluid on the highlights, let it dry, and then just paint on top. And then take the masking fluid away once you're finished. But today I'm showing you the method without masking fluid, so it's completely doable. All you need is just to pay a little bit more attention to the highlights. I'm not covering the highlights. And then see what I'm going to do. So here you see I've applied yellow to the whole surface of the eggs, but there's also one more way to create this color transition from yellow to orange. So instead of covering everything with yellow, I'm going to go ahead and switch right to the orange, to this medium orange color. And I'm going to continue to cover those eggs with this orange color. And it's going to give me a very similar effect. So it just saves me time. You know, instead of going there and covering it with yellow and then covering with orange on top, I can just go ahead and continue with orange. The important thing though is that you should do it right after you've applied the yellow, because your yellow should be still wet in order for this effect to be produced. So see, we created exactly the same effect of some color from the top bleeding with the yellow color. And then again, if I want to correct this a little bit and make this transition even more seamless, I'm just washing my brush, drying it with my paper towel, and then you see I just go there and kind of fix that transition if I want it to be a little bit smoother or kind of a little bit more controlled. This is optional though, because again, we're not aiming for something perfect. And then you see, I've already created this glowing effect just by using these two colors. So if you look at our reference, you see that the lower part of these fish eggs is kind of glowing because it's lighter. So this is exactly what we've created here. And then things will become even better when we add something dark. So here I told you, if we add something dark around, our fish egg will instantly look more realistic, so, and stand out more. So I'm taking my Payne's Gray, and now the fish egg got completely dry, so I can go ahead and paint around it without worrying that this gray color will interfere with the orange color. There you go. And then you see how adding this dark gray instantly makes our fish egg stand out. There you go. So this is something we will create on these eggs as well. And here we have two things going on. We have the seaweed, the dark seaweed. Let me find the exact picture we're using today. This one. So we have the seaweed, and we have the space in between the eggs. That is also darker. So let me first mix color for the in-between parts of the eggs. So this is going to allow us to finish this, the eggs, painting the eggs. And for this color, I'm going to use some burnt sienna. It's a brown color. There you go. And this is actually what I'm going to use. Just a very simple mix, just burnt sienna. Or you can use something brown instead. Maybe a mix of sepia with red, but burnt sienna is perfect. And then I'm going to mix another color for the seaweed. So I'm going to mix some Payne's Gray. You can just use Payne's Gray and that's it. I'm going to add a little touch of green to my Payne's Gray because my seaweed is kind of greenish. So I want it to be dark green. So I'm just adding a touch of green. And this is the color I've got. I'm going to create a swatch here. This is the color I've got. And this is the burnt sienna we're going to use in between the eggs. So in order to apply the color in between the eggs, I need to make sure they're dry. So now I'm looking at my surface and I see it's dry. So I can apply this color in between the eggs and you will see that this will make them stand out even more. So to me, this color is a little bit too dark, so I'm going to add just a little touch of water to it and continue to paint with it. See, I'm going in between the eggs, and I'm especially focusing on those that are behind. So I'm kind of covering them. So again, because our light comes from the right side, it will hit on some of the eggs, but some will remain in the shadow, so the light will not go that deep. So this is why by covering some of these eggs that are behind, I'm actually making those on top stand out even more. See? I'm covering this one, especially those that are behind. These ones, and I'm also focusing my effort on these areas where like on the outlines of the individual eggs. So you see I'm adding the outline but not everywhere. So I'm just underlining these eggs in some areas but not everywhere. There you go. I think this looks pretty good. I'm also going to kind of cover these two eggs. All right. So by adding a third color, you see we've instantly made this look even more realistic. And now let's add the contrast and make this sketch really stand out. So I'm taking my green mix and I'm going to add it near those fish eggs. So this is basically the seaweed. I'm going to apply it here, and you will see how by adding this darker color, just like here, it's adding a bunch of contrast, and it really allows our fish eggs stand out. So with all the light subjects, adding a dark tone really helps to make them look realistic and really pop. So I'm not going to paint the whole sushi. I'm just going to show you the top area. It's going to be enough, I think. And I'm going to use a slightly more concentrated version of the same color. So what I'm doing, I'm mixing the same exact color, but I have almost no water on my brush. So it's almost no water and just color. You see this color is even darker. See that? It's almost black. But the cool thing is that we're not using any black paint. So if you have Payne's Gray in your set, it's a much better option than just pure black, because it allows you to mix a dark color super quickly, super easily. Then you see I'm adding this darker color near some of the eggs, and I'm also going to add it here because this is where the seaweed kind of is rolled around the eggs. And then I'm going to add these tiny bits because we can see some of it on the back side. So by adding these little bits, I'm just showing that it's going all around the eggs. There you go. So this is how you create the illusion of something shiny. Then if I wanted to add even more realism, I could potentially add another outline to the individual eggs using the same brown color. But again, if you're aiming for a quick sketch, I think this is more than enough. So this is how you represent a shiny surface, shiny texture on food. You can apply these principles not only to fish eggs, but also to a bunch of different subjects. And we did this with a very limited color palette. You see, this is all we've used today. So this is how to create these textures. And if you're curious to create this whole spread, This spread is part of my full program called Travel Sketching Academy. This is where I teach you how to sketch different subjects from nature to landscapes, portraits, architecture, and more. And if you're curious to learn more, I'm going to leave the link below. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.